Okay, Mr. Bailey, I am all the way ready on my end now. Are you ready to go?
Um, yes, I'm actually sending over
Okay.
Dr. Hunter's slides. She has a couple slides.
I'll wait till you're finished. Just let me know when you're finished and then we can start.
No, I did. I just wanted to make sure that I spoke with you. I was trying to type something in, but it's easier to speak. So I sent that over. So she has a couple slides for her presentation.
Okay, I just got it.
Okay.
All right, now, are we ready to go now?
Yeah.
All right. Just
Right.
letting in the last person. All right, everybody, we're going to get started with our virtual community meeting for the CSCA. And everyone, please remain on mute to respect our guests, especially when they are talking. And I'm going to go live and I'm going to give you an introduction shortly, Mr. Bailey.
Okay.
Welcome to the May 2021 virtual Camp Springs Civic Association meeting. Presenting Mr. John Bailey, President of the Civic Association.
Good evening, community. My name is John Bailey, and I'm the president of the Camp Springs Civic Association. I want to thank our board members, residents, and distinguished guests for attending the final community of this fiscal year. I'm only going to say a couple things because our agenda is pretty full. I want to thank Camp Springs for patiently bearing with us as we have attempted to keep this organization going in one of the most challenging times of our lives. Though we are not out of the woods yet, I thank you. Please continue to do your part so we as a community can get through this. Don't forget that this is Mental Health Awareness Month. Don't be ashamed or hesitant to talk to someone. So without further ado, I'd like to get to the first agenda item, and I believe Ms. Monique Taylor, our recording secretary and membership chair, will take over from here.
Good evening, Camp Springs. We have a special presentation tonight. We want to give honor to our president, our fearless leader who's done an outstanding job for the last 4 years as the president and president. So without further ado, we have a special presentation. Thank you.
is what we're looking for playing on Facebook right now.
That's what I'm told, but it doesn't help. It's on Facebook Live only. I thought we would be able to see it here too.
It doesn't look like it's playing on Facebook Live either. So do we want to?
Okay, we'll just what we'll do. We'll come back to that because we definitely have a full plate here. All right, I certainly appreciate that, and we'll get back to that in just a moment. Apologize for that delay. So without further ado, we will have from the Department of Environment, Ms. Tia Rutherford. If you can take yourself off mute, excuse me, and begin your presentation.
Thank you, Mr. Bailey. Thank you, Camp Springs, for having me at your meeting this evening. I want to go over a quick presentation. I hope we're able to get through all the slides. And we also have a guest here, Andriana Burke, who's going to bring forward some information. So if you would please pull up the PowerPoint so I can see it on Zoom. And just so you know, I don't see a presentation. Very good, there it is. And you can just show the slides. Yeah, next slide, please. So Litter Reduction Program Office, of which I work in, takes on a number of activities, education being one of them. And so our goal is to raise the awareness of what illegal dumping is, the problems it generates, and your options as a resident in Prince George's County. That is being done through an anti-marketing campaign that started over 2 years ago with the contracting firm LMD. It also will fold into anti-litter activity books that have been created for K through 12 through a grant from the National Oceanic and Atmospheric Administration. Next slide. So part of our education will be opportunities for students across Prince George's County to visit the state's first 3 Bandalong in-stream trash traps. Bandalong is a trademark entity. It is a floating trash trap device that is in 3 streams in Prince George's County. We're the first jurisdiction in the state of Maryland to roll out this kind of technology. The goal is for that in-stream trash trap is to collect any floatable materials in that water body before it reaches the larger Anacostia River and Chesapeake Bay. Next slide. And so we're also going to be engaging our residents and encouraging them to join us in activities that's going to keep floatables and recyclable items out of our local streams. One of which is participating by using a Big Belly solar powered trash can. Those trash cans, it's about 27 locations right now that have dual stream recycling as well as trash, solar powered stations that you're able to use as you're waiting for the bus. Again, we talked about the Bandalong trash trap that's in 3 streams or in 3 water bodies across Prince George's County, and Arundel Canal, Cabin Branch, and Guilford Run are those. And those are within the Anacostia River watershed. You also have PGC Litter Track, which is the smartphone app that you're able to access from your cellular device. And it should be used during you all's cleanups. I believe you used it this past May 1st. To account for the number of bags that you just collected during your cleanup event, as well as adopting a local stream. There are a number of streams in our backyards here in Camp Springs that need our help in removing trash and illegal dumping that has made its way down to its shores. Next slide. So bulky trash, you all have acknowledged that pandemic has slowed down county services, but it never stopped us. And so bulky trash collection is something that we all should be participating in by calling County Click 311. The right way to use bulky trash is to plan for your pickup. That means that you call 311, you get your date scheduled for your pickup, and you do not set your items out until the night before your pickup. If your items go out a month before your pickup or days before your pickup, you're going to find other people are going to bring their items to your collection site as well. And that will pose a problem the day that bulky trash collection services come past your house. If there are more items left at your home with your bulky pickup than you allotted for, that will be a problem and they may not be picked up. But again, the best way to use bulky trash and to get a better understanding of those services is to call County Click 311. Also, for a very short time, for us to catch up on the backlog we saw during pandemic, is that there will be some areas that will receive Saturday collection. I'm not sure of those areas. However, please give County Click 311 a call to better understand how to use bulky trash. Next slide. And so here's the big belly. That's me in the picture, hair a little bit shorter a few years ago. And so again, that is solar powered. On top of it, there is a computer system that alerts my office as well as other entities across the county as to when those receptacles are ready to be emptied. So there is nothing that anyone has to do. You don't have to call in and say it's overflowing. We get those alerts on a daily basis because there is a computer on that system. Next slide. Storm drain stenciling is not just an activity for young people. In the picture to your left, those are adults who are actually stenciling storm drains in their communities to let everyone know that that storm drain doesn't just let out to what you feel as though was a sewer collection system. Quite a few of our storm drains in Prince George's County actually outfall into open streams and in our backyards. And what is happening is when litter and debris gets into those catch basins or into those storm drains, several things can happen. It will clog that system where water should flow through freely, and it can cause flooding. It can also impair a local stream and water body. And so when you see it says Chesapeake Bay, best believe that that storm drain and the water that flows through it will ultimately end up in the Chesapeake Bay. And our goal for this region ought to be to keep that Chesapeake Bay as clean as possible because it is a source of revenue for the state and it's a source of enjoyment and food for a lot of people in this region who enjoy Maryland crabs as well as rockfish that are caught in the bay. Our storm drains can impact that bay and our enjoyment in the summer for crab yield. So if you're interested in getting a set of stencils and going through Camp Springs and stenciling those storm drains, we'll have information for you to get that to be able to come and lease out those stencils. Next slide. And so what we're also doing as county government, we are identifying the hot spots where people are illegally dumping their unwanted debris. I can't say this enough. I'm hoping all of you have heard that you're able to, as a county resident, bring your unwanted materials to the landfill for free. There are even some free Saturdays that have been publicized. And so we don't have a reason as homeowners to do what we're seeing in these pictures, and that's illegally dumping materials on the side of the road, using the no dumping signs as an opportunity to leave your materials there. Again, County Click 311, if you're unable to take those materials to the landfill, you can have county services pick them up from your home. Next slide. We're also working on enforcement. We have an environmental crimes unit and task force that is addressing issues of illegal dumping. There are several dumpers that have been identified through surveillance, and those cases will be before a court case, before the courts in Prince George's County as soon as they open up. So there is an environmental crimes team that is working to enforce county laws and state laws when it comes to dumping and litter. Next slide. So this slide just tells us what that process is. How do we get from enforcement to a court case? And so essentially, County Click 311, you all are calling in illegal dumping. We're identifying locations. We have our team within the police department that goes and determines if the site is suitable for surveillance. There may be opportunities where our existing technology may not work in that area. However, it will still be surveilled to the point that we're going to catch people who are doing dumping in this county. So our goal is to get cases before our courts and before our judges so that our fines can be instituted and paid, and restitution is paid to our county. Believe it or not, illegal dumping impacts every taxpayer in this county, regardless to where you live in the county, whether or not it's happening in your neighborhood or not. Next slide. So surveillance is happening and will happen in a number of different ways. This is an example of a type of surveillance equipment that may be rolled out here in the next fiscal year, but have an understanding that the county executive has made it her priority that a new camera technology will be rolled out to, in fact, catch more dumpers that are using Prince George's County as their playing field. She's very serious, so serious that she's deemed a litter czar. And so I've gone from a litter reduction program manager to now a litter czar who is coordinating the efforts of county government and relaying that information to you, our constituents, our taxpayers, our residents, as to what your county government is doing. I'm also here to encourage you all to join us in the fight against litter by continuing to host your cleanups, continuing to be vigilant and calling in illegal dumping when you see it happening. And there are going to be other opportunities for you all to get involved with this process as well. So next slide. Marketing. Our beautification campaign rolled out a few years ago. And if you all over the pandemic have been watching channels like ESPN or HGTV, you may have heard and or seen our campaign. If you've seen bus wraps, you've seen the big belly trash compactors have been wrapped, you've been at a bus stop, you've seen the advertisement there, you've seen print ads on billboards across the county. Our goal is to always let you know that there is another option. We're very serious. Litter is in fact sad. It does not have to happen. If you can hold your materials in your car till you get to a trash can, if you can absolutely use county services and including your landfill, you as a resident can take your materials to the landfill. So it's not illegally dumped, and using companies that you know are using the landfill. Unfortunately, for the amount of dumping that we're seeing happening, we're understanding that this cannot just be my household or your household. This has to be a team of businesses or entities, enterprises that are collecting materials from people and under false pretenses and dumping that material on the sides of the road. It is that much material that is being collected on a daily basis, that was collected on May 1st. If you have not heard, on May 1st, Going Green with Pride, the county and neighborhoods across the county collected over 100,000 pounds of litter and illegally dumped items. That is a lot of material in one day. Okay, so there's a campaign out. You've seen the billboards. If not, look up next time you're riding down Route 5. There's in Brandywine, there's a billboard in Brandywine. There's billboards off of Sheriff Road. There's bus stops across the county that have our campaign materials listed and rolling out. We'll continue to roll out new materials. So listen up. You may hear an ad on a radio station or on a local TV station. Next slide. And so the task force that was just started by the county executive, we have some short-term goals. And our short-term goals will be accomplished by the end of June. That is to keep a coordinated communications campaign so you, our county residents and constituents, have an understanding of what it is we are doing as county agencies towards the issue of litter and illegal dumping. We're going to expand that illegal dumping camera monitoring program. We're going to be researching the best practices of local jurisdictions and bringing all of that information back to now digest and readjust. We're also going to be creating a quick reference guide that helps us and you all to understand county ordinances and state statutes. One of those county ordinances that I had a conversation about this evening is the abutters ordinance. That abutters ordinance is enforceable, and you will probably now be seeing our partner agency, DPI, permits, inspection, and enforcement out enforcing the abutters ordinance. That means if the roadway in front of your home, that sidewalk in front of your home, if you live in a community that has curb and gutter and you're parked in front of your home and there's litter and your personal vehicle was parked there, you can be fined for not picking up that litter. Because I tell you, if it hits the ground, it'll absolutely end up in a storm drain and in a local water body. We'll also be recognizing our hometown heroes, and that means you all who have, for over the years, participated in cleanups, who have done above and beyond the call of duty and are considered a local hero. We want to highlight your efforts, and we want you to be involved in our hometown heroes. And so we'll be tapping on the shoulders of quite a few of you to join us in campaign ads. Your face is recognizable. Your neighbors listen to you. Young people are drawn to you, and they want to be involved in what you're doing. And so you're a hometown hero, and we want to highlight you. Next slide. If you have any questions about what I've just said tonight, please jot down this email address. It is litterreduction@co.pg.md.us. I can answer those questions offline. Unfortunately, I have another meeting to go to that I'm about to be late for. And I do have one more slide. Next slide. And so I'll ask Adriana if you can come off of mute and please explain what this slide means. We're inviting you all to a meeting, and Adriana can tell you more about it. Thank you for your time. Thank you for having me, Mr. Bailey. I'm around. I'm gonna go ahead and tell them before you tell them. I live in the Camp Springs, Temple Hills area. This is my community. I ride and walk these streets. And so, you know, if you see me out walking down Henderson Road, up Temple Hills, through some neighborhoods, feel free to wave, honk your horn, and or stop me. Just don't stop past my house and start talking about business, okay? Thank you for having me. Adriana, please take the mic.
Thank you, Ms. Rutherford.
Okay, thank you, Tia. Thanks, thank you, Camp Springs, for having me. Yes, I am here to invite your community to an upcoming Tinkers Creek virtual community meeting, which will be held on Tuesday, June 29th at 7 p.m. So I'm again with Tetra Tech, and we are helping Prince George's County Department of Environment to develop a watershed study about the Tinkers Creek watershed. That watershed is where Camp Springs is located. We're doing the watershed study as part of a grant from the state of Maryland. And as part of that community meeting, we are going to include some tips and ideas of how you can help improve the water quality in your community. So Tetra Tech, along with Department of Environment, will host this meeting on Tuesday, June 29th at 7 p.m. And it's also going to include some information about some programs and ideas that you can do to help your community. We are going to be, the Department of Environment is going to be posting information on social media, and then we're also going to be sending you the link so that your community can join. It will be on Zoom. It'll be through Microsoft Teams, but it'll be very similar. You just click on the link and you can join. There's no need to register. Just come and attend, listen, learn about some tips you can do to keep your waterways clean, about Department of Environment programs, and you'll be able to ask questions directly to the presenters to learn about some programs and, again, things that you can do in your community. So we hope that you can join us on the 29th at 7 p.m.
Okay, certainly appreciate that. I'm not sure if there are any questions regarding this meeting. I'll check with Mr. Harris.
Yes, there are two questions. The first one is it free to residents on specific days or any day the county dump is open? Or is that a question that would have went to the
I think
previous?
that may be
Okay.
for Ms. Rutherford.
Okay.
The Tinkers Creek
Mhm.
is more is what Ms. Burke is here for. If there are any Tinkers Creek questions, she can handle that. But all of the others, we will forward them to Ms. Rutherford and get that reply and send it out via the email.
Okay. There, I think there's a creek question you may be able to help us with.
Cool.
This is there any information on Henson Creek that you're aware of?
I don't have any information on Henson Creek, but we can certainly find out about that. This meeting is specific to Tinkers Creek watershed. So I don't know about Henson Creek, but I will make a note of that. But I should also note that this meeting is absolutely free. And it's open to all community members to join, learn, and ask questions. And again, no registration, just if you're available, click on the link. We'll also be recording the meeting and we'll be posting it on a website, and if you can't attend, we'll provide that link so that your community can watch the video and still participate and learn about the watershed study and things they can do in their community.
And if they check out that site, would they be able to learn about other locations or just your location?
Yeah, I think so. That website has, there's a number of watershed studies throughout Prince George's County. This one is specific to Tinkers Creek. There's also been studies for Western Branch and a number of other watersheds. So yes, so if that's of interest, then that information of other watershed studies that the county has been conducting through under grants from the state of Maryland, yes, that'll be available and for them to look at.
Great, thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, I think there was a message by Ms. Linda Lowe with the Department of Environment, who also has left her email. That'll be lmlowe@co.pg.md.us for any further assistance with the Department of Environment. Okay, thank you. Thank you, Ms. Burke. We certainly appreciate you taking the time out. All right, we'll go to our next agenda item, Prince George's County Health Department with Dr. Hunter. Please unmute yourself.
Good evening. My name is Dr. Hunter, and I'm the acting manager for the Local Behavioral Health Authority for the Prince George's County Health Department. And this evening, we're going to talk about new norms post-COVID-19 as we celebrate Mental Health Awareness Month. Can you shrink the slides a little bit? Thank you. Next slide, please. One of the things that I want to talk about in order to add some background is during COVID-19, the thing that we saw is increased rates of depression and anxiety. Our overdose rates in the county went up to 150%. They've now normed back out, but they did go up in the midst of it. We've seen increased rates of suicide in African Americans in Maryland. So what's odd with that is normally African American rates of suicide are low. They've risen while our Caucasian counterparts have, their rates have gone down. We've also had to deal with racial justice movement and political tension, creating traumatic feelings within our community. And we watched this play out through the summer throughout the US, but it has significantly impacted how we feel and what we're going through. And so as we begin to look at new norms and how we are doing outside or on the other side of the pandemic, and even since we've been on here, they've released news information regarding what the governor has stated. They're going to be lifting restrictions. And so we want to know what that looks like for us as we move forward. Next slide. One of the things that we're looking at that we have never really had to look at before is trusting others for safety. And that becomes really important when we are in our community. Normally, we would only ask close friends and relatives about their health, but one of the main things that we're asking people now is, have you been vaccinated? And have you been fully vaccinated? And have you gotten past 14 days? For those with health risks, this becomes really important in terms of feeling safe, which is a big part of where we are with our mental health in terms of anxiety and things like that. So knowing that this has become part of our norm and becomes part of the conversations that we have is important as we move through and look at where we are coming out of the pandemic that we have gone through for the past 14 months. Next slide. We also are dealing with vaccine hesitancy. So when we were in lockdown, a lot of people talked about, how we had hopes for a vaccine that would allow us to get back to some sense of normalcy. However, now that the vaccine is here, some people are just hesitant, and we have to be able to respect where they are. Now, in some households, you have the ability to be able to say, or the doctor will say, we highly recommend that you get it, but some people want to wait a little bit longer. And while we have, as the health department, pushed for people to get it, when it's your turn, get your shot, some people are waiting. And so for some of those individuals, we have to be able to be patient with them because they're waiting to see what's going on. This will delay our herd immunity. We're moving closer and closer to it every day. I think some of the people who had the hesitancy in January or February, now we're in May or moving, through May into the summer months. It's something that we're going to be seeing that more and more people are getting. Next slide. So some of the big questions are, when can we resume activities, right? So, when can we connect again? When can we vacation? When can we go to the gym? When can we stop thinking about COVID and focus on living? And those are all the big wins, right? So much of what we did, or our normalcy, was tied to our activities that we did outside of the home. It was tied to us being able to visit with our family members or friends, or meet somebody after work, or I'll see you at the gym. And so these activities will help us in terms of behavioral health and us feeling like we have a sense of control back over our life. With this, we have to be able to know that we have to do this slowly. And as we look at our new norms on the other side of this COVID-19 pandemic, we know that we will get back to all of this. Like I said, the governor announced today that they're lifting restrictions for indoor dining. So that's a win, right? And so as we do this, one of the things that's important is that we be patient with the system. We've gone through the majority, through the hardest parts of what we're going to go through. Being able to look forward and see the light at the end of the tunnel is really what's going to be able to help us as we get rid of some of that anxiety that was tied to it and move towards the anxiety that motivates us to be able to do something different. Next slide. Rekindling old relationships is also something that we have to really think about, because we didn't connect with people. How do we have the conversation Is it safe to be with friends again? And part of that is not feeling the necessity to do it all at once. So, you may want to meet with somebody who you haven't seen in a year, once a week or something like that. But again, being able to ask the questions that are appropriate, for you, and knowing what that looks like for yourself, and being okay with saying, I'm not ready yet, is going to be huge. I can tell you that I've received texts and phone calls, and people were talking about what they were doing. And I was like, yeah, I'll see you after the vaccine. And then after the vaccine, they were like, I'm fully vaccinated. I was like, have you been fully vaccinated for 14 days? And for me, I need an extra week on there, because that's just to make sure that my anxiety doesn't kick up. And so I'm okay with saying, I'm not ready yet. I'll get back to you when I'm ready. And we have to be all right with that, so that we don't, put ourselves in danger or our family members in danger. And so that we can start to rekindle these relationships at a pace or a rate that is appropriate for us. And everybody will do it differently. So you have to respect what somebody else says also. Next slide. Another thing that we're dealing with, for some of us, we have had to become parents and teachers all at the same time. How do we help our children? So kids have suffered socially during this time. They want to reconnect and get together again. They thrive in structure and groups. And that was something that they didn't get when they were at home. So being able to assist them with being able to move back to some sense of normalcy, as they go back to the classroom, or they begin to reconnect with their friends for play dates, or being able to have the conversation with them that we're almost at the end of this, just be a little bit more patient, and begin to let them integrate back in socially, is going to be key. And knowing that they need this in order to be able to thrive appropriately. So where many of them were getting that one-on-one at home, they really thrive best in structure and groups. And so some parents may not be ready for their kids to go back. I know I have a couple of people that work for me, and they're not sending their children back any sooner than they have to. But for some children, they really, really need that structure to be able to do well. And so being able to do it at a pace that you're comfortable with, but looking at what's best for your child also. Next slide. This also leads into, how do we help kids migrate back to school? I have a friend of mine whose daughter has done extremely well at home. She doesn't want to go back to school. Her grades have gone up. She's thrived because she's gotten the one-on-one that she didn't get. What does the hybrid version look like as we go into, we finish up this school year and go back to the next school year? And how to lessen the stress on parents around schooling children. Again, a lot of parents became school teachers as well as their regular jobs, because they were at home working, plus they were at home helping kids with school. They were experiencing burnout because they were just doing a lot. And then they felt like it was all happening so fast. The kids stopped going to school fast, and now they're going back to school. They feel like they may be going back real fast. And another part of that is how to deal with the achievement gap. So the thing that we know is that kids lost something during this past year, and being able to deal with that and adjust to it, which is why people are looking for the politicians are pushing for the kids to go back, is because they did lose something during that year. And a lot of it has to do with the structure and stuff that happens in the classroom. And I gave the example of a friend of mine where her daughter actually did better, but for the most part, they were losing part of what they normally would do hands-on. And so that experiential learning is really important, and it really contributed to the achievement gap that we saw. Next slide. I was surprised to hear that in our county, they were going to be doing in-person proms and graduations this year. And the thing that we need to do is we need to stay focused on everybody staying safe. So as we begin to look at the mental health, even in the last slide, what I talked about it, if you're not ready, it's okay. You have to do what's best for your family. You may not be okay with your child going to prom. You may not be okay with your child going to graduation. You have to make the choices and the decisions that are safest for your family. You may say it's okay to go, but I need you to stay 6 feet away, or I need you to, you can go, but please wear your mask. Whatever your rules are, be okay with your rules and know that you're the one who has to make the decisions for your family that are best for your family in order to lessen the anxiety that's associated with what's going on. Next slide. Want to talk about loss because a lot of us experience that, and loss is more than death. So we lost, the definition of loss is here: the fact or process of losing something or someone, a person or thing that is badly missed, a state of feeling of grief when deprived of someone or something of value. We lost our lifestyles. We lost our ability to be able to connect with people. We lost the ability to be able to come and go as we wanted. For some people, they lost their, ability to be able to roam freely and go places, to travel and do all sorts of things. And so we are dealing with loss. Next slide. Next slide. Which leads to grief. So grief is our response to loss. And you can say, I'm not really grieving, but a lot of people were grieving. And what they identified as depression were really symptoms of grief that came from the loss. And that didn't mean that they lost somebody. It meant that they lost part of who they were. Our identity, so much of our identity is tied to what we do every day. So whether it's going to an office or being part of community groups similar to this, it is the ability to be able to stay within those boundaries or those parameters and still function the way you always have. And grief is physiological. So it's not just what we think, it's how we feel. It takes a toll on our body. It's the outward show of what someone is feeling internally. And we have to be able to understand that we're going to feel this for a little while because we lost a lot during COVID-19, but we have to be able to move past it. Next slide. So part of being able to deal with it is let go of what you cannot control, which was hard this past year, right? Because there was so much we couldn't control, and allowing ourselves to feel. If you're not having a great day, it's okay to say, I'm not having a great day. Process your feelings. I'm not having a great day. I'm gonna sit down with a cup of tea. I'm gonna figure out what's going on with me. And then being kind to those around you and yourself. So if that didn't look good to you or didn't feel good to you, be able to connect back with you and say, I just need a few minutes. And it's not the end of the world. It's just not what I want to do right now or how I want to feel right now. Next slide. This is true. Grief is like the ocean. It comes in waves, ebbing and flowing. Sometimes the water's calm, sometimes it's overwhelming. All we can do is learn to swim. I say this, we learned to swim in an environment that we never had to swim in this past year. And you have to continue to do that. You have to move through it. You have to feel it. You have to allow yourself to feel it, and you have to move through what that feeling is. So the ability to learn to swim and continue to swim, even in difficult situations, is the best way to describe something like this. Next slide. Coping strategies are what's important, even as we come through this. So both optimism and anxiety require us to imagine something that hasn't happened yet. If we have the ability to worry about the future, we have the ability to imagine a better one. So you have to be able to sometimes change your perspective and look at it. I know for me, I'm looking at, okay, I can travel again next year. There's so many things that are going to be different. I'm going to ease into it. Maybe I won't go overseas. Maybe I'll just travel within the US, looking at US islands and things like that, where before I would just go, go, go. So I can't worry about what I can't do. I can only focus on what I can do, and that changes my perspective and my ability to be able to process the information. Next slide. So coping strategies really these are important. Taking time daily to reconnect with you. And you can say, well, what does that mean? It means that you really take time for you. So we have found ourselves in a position that we hadn't been in before. And if you were like me, the computer came home, there wasn't a clear line between when I stopped working and I started working, and where my you know, it was the end of the day and my computer would be up and I find myself going back to check to see if anything had come in. And so we had to learn how to shut it off. We had to learn to put boundaries into place because work and home became the same place. And so being able to take time daily to reconnect, we have to remain hopeful and optimistic that things will continue to get better, which is huge in terms of our mental health and how we feel. We have to be okay with staying in our own comfort zone. You don't have to do what somebody else did. You only have to do what feels right for you. Allow yourself to feel. And I know I said this before, but it's really important. So many times we think we have to be a certain way because we have to show strength because so-and-so thinks that that's the position we should be in. Sometimes you have to give other people permission to feel too. So when they see you feel, then they have the ability to feel. A big part of coping strategies is exercise. Everybody talks about me. I do about 20 miles a week, not on a bicycle, on my feet. And then I add to it golf, or I'll go cycling or something like that. But exercise is a huge part of me staying grounded and me being able to push through even on the toughest days. And I do it at the beginning of my day so that I don't have to worry about what if something comes up at the end of my day. And so you don't have to run a marathon or anything. You can get up every day and go and walk, and you've exercised and you've given yourself the ability to be able to reconnect with you as you're out there and you're getting some fresh air, the sun can kiss your face. And it's just a great feeling when you're done. You feel like you've accomplished something. Mindful meditation or prayer kind of both do the same thing. You give yourself the opportunity to get away and just kind of to feel, to free your mind, allow yourself to be able to connect with your higher power, or in meditation to just kind of free your mind and allow yourself to not have to think about anything. It's really powerful. Take a break. And that means, yes, even if you have to do a staycation, some of us need a vacation, but that may not be possible. I talked to somebody the other day that said in 14 months, they've only taken 2 days off. And it was really difficult to not look at their phone. These are coping strategies that will help you be able to move through until we have a greater sense of normalcy. But this is going to be our new norm. Life may never be the way that it was again. We have to figure out what works for us now. And so these are some of the things you can do to feel better now. Next slide. This is another part of allowing yourself to feel. It's okay to not be okay, as long as you're not giving up. And a lot of times we think we have to tell everybody we're okay, and we don't. And one of the things that's difficult in our community is we stigmatize behavioral health, and we shouldn't, because everybody needs a little bit of help. And wouldn't you rather not stigmatize it and have a healthier community than to keep saying, oh, that person is, they see the therapist, or, everybody always wants to say that somebody is crazy. Everybody is a little bit crazy. It takes a little bit of crazy for us to all deal with one another, right? But that doesn't mean that there's something wrong or that somebody has a diagnosis. So it's okay to not be okay. Just don't give up. And everybody has bad days. Your bad day does not equate to a diagnosis. And I know everybody wants to quickly say that somebody's bipolar or somebody's depressed or anxiety, they have anxiety. You can have an anxious day. That doesn't mean you have anxiety. You can have a day where you feel down. That doesn't mean that you're depressed. It just means that you're not okay that day. And you need to be able to get up and keep moving. Next slide. One of the good things about what's happened during this time, we talk about destigmatizing behavioral health, is we're doing all telehealth. Nobody was going into an office. We were doing it in the comfort of your home. I'm in the comfort of my home. We get together, we have a conversation, we work out whatever is going on. Next slide. So behavioral health is available. So somebody's asking a question, do we do, does the local behavioral health authority conduct street outreach for anyone in our neighborhood that may need help finding counseling? If yes, what days of the week are the people in your agency on the ground here in Camp Spring, and how can we identify your workers? No, we do not do community outreach. If somebody needs help finding a counselor, they can call our office and they will help them get get assigned to somebody in the community. Walking up to somebody or being in the community, and I can tell you this as a therapist, I've been a therapist for years, isn't always the best approach. People don't want to know that there's a therapist that walks up to them, or I'm just out in the community knocking on doors. They don't want identifiers. Even with our mobile crisis, they took the symbol off of their cars so that they wouldn't be identified. If you have somebody that needs help, the phone number is 301-856-9500. And we can have a case manager connect with them and help them get the help that they need. So you don't have to do it all. We'll help them do it. If they don't have insurance, it's fine. The state of Maryland will pay for somebody to be seen while they're trying to, they have an uninsured pool of money that they pull from, but they will have to submit some information for that. Behavioral health care is available. As I said, it's a lot of telehealth. Some symptoms are normal, but prolonged, extreme, or symptoms getting in the way of everyday life are signs to get help. So, I talked in the beginning about how suicidality had gone up in the African-American community. I also talked about how drugs, the overdoses had gone up in our community. These are all signs these are all danger signs and poor coping skills. And so you want to know that those are all signs of somebody who needs to actually get in touch with someone. Those with pre-existing mental health conditions are at higher risk than those who weren't. If you need help, you can call 211-1 or go to https://211md.org/, or you can text MD to 741-741 and you can get help that way. And that concludes my slides for this evening. Were there any more questions?
Is there another way for them to get that information if they're not able to grab it now from the presentation?
They can go on the county website and look up the local behavioral health authority, or there's a whole section that's behavioral health and all the information is there.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Dr. Hunter, if there's an information sheet that you can share to me, I can post it on our website, so it will be accessible to.
I sent it. I sent it
Okay.
for you all to post to your website.
Okay.
So anybody who's on this call, if they go to your website, they'll have the information at the bottom to be able to seek the help that they need.
All right. Certainly appreciate the comprehensive presentation. Thank you so much for your time.
You're very welcome.
And Harris, that was it with the questions?
Yes, sir.
Okay. All right. So I will move to our next agenda item, which is our cops report. And we will start off in District 4 with Corporal McLaughlin.
Good evening, everyone. I'm Corporal McLaughlin from District 4. Basically, with the report that I have, we really don't have anything pretty much going on in your neighborhood besides in the actual beats of King 5 beat. We've been having a lot of theft going on the 4500 block of St. Barnabas Road, which is in an area where the new 7-Eleven is. It used to be the Arthur Treachers. My advice to you all as far as safety tips is don't leave anything in your vehicles, because a lot of people, what they're doing is they're parking their vehicles and they run into the 7-Eleven and they think it's for a few minutes and they leave the car running, and sometimes they leave their cars unlocked. And that's how people are getting to their cars. They're stealing things out of their cars or they're taking the cars. But me looking at the crime report that I sent to you, Mr. Bailey, earlier,
yes,
we really don't really have anything going on in your community, so which is a great thing.
Yeah.
We just have other things going on around it. So keep up the good work. Just make sure you all keep in touch with each other. Share anything suspicious that you see, and you all also contact me because as our King Sector cops, we're working together to make sure we cover each beat in District 4 on the King Sector side. We don't have an exact signed person to King 5 beat, but we all working together. But I will provide you my work cell phone number. When you're ready, it's 240-888-5800. 695-7477. And my supervisor is Corporal Miller. He's our acting sergeant, which he was off today, so I'm filling in for him. But either or, you can contact me or you can contact him at 240-695-7474. Mr. Bailey, we've been in contact with each other, and whatever you all need and whatever we can help in the community, just always give us a shout. You can call, text, email. And basically I'm here just to answer any questions that you all may have, if there's any.
Yes, we have a question. It says, can you provide a recent example of how District 4 or 5 coordinated with PG County Local Behavioral Health Authority to help get drug addicts into treatment and to track and monitor people in the community with a pattern of violent behavior?
Well, okay, I wasn't prepared for that question. But what I can do is I can get back to you. Can I have your contact information?
This was a one from the community, Carolyn Williams on Facebook.
Carolyn Williams. Okay, is there a phone number I can contact her? And then once I find that information from my commander.
I'll send it to you directly.
Well, yeah, we can do that direct to her for us. Yep. Appreciate that.
Okay.
And if you want to repeat your phone number while she's listening, maybe she can give you a call maybe tomorrow.
Yes, I definitely can.
Okay. Cool. And also your email when you do that. Yeah.
Okay.
Right.
It's
Thank
you. 240-695-7477. And my email address is ET.McLaughlin, which is McLaughlin @co.pg.md.us.
Okay.
And that's for anyone on the Zoom meeting tonight.
Great. All right. Our next question is, are there any reports for Arth Road? And this one also can be addressed, I guess. It says there's a lot of shooting being discussed on Nextdoor. Is there any comments regarding that?
The only calls that I got in the Arth Road area is by the Metro, where they having commercial trucks parking near the Metro, which Metro Transit usually handles those violations if they're parking after 6 p.m. in the commercial area in that area. As far as the shootings goes, like I said, there's nothing going on in your community, but in District 4, we've had 8 shootings in District 4 since January of 2021. We've had shootings from January until now. And we're still constantly patrolling the areas, and we can't be everywhere every moment, but we're trying. There's a lot of visibility. We try to stay in the high visibility areas, which is in King 1, 2, and 3 beat, which is in the Iverson Mall area. That is like one of the main areas where we're getting a lot of shootings. Down from Southern Avenue and Willow Road up to Branch Avenue and St. Barnabas Road is where we're getting the most activity. We do also patrol King 5 beat as well. When Mr. Bailey contacted us or anybody in the community on certain special areas where we can focus on this, may it be suspicious vehicles or things like that, because that's the kind of things we're getting. And then the hotels down on Allentown Road towards Suland Road. Starting to get more crime happening there as far as thefts or assaults. So with the homicides, that's what we're looking at right now. Hopefully we don't have any more.
Okay. Let's see. There is a question. It's a little general. You may be able to address it. It says people are hanging out near the new shopping center late at night. Is there anything that could be done about that? And yeah, so I guess
across the street from the Dunkin' Donuts.
I believe so. That's the only one I'm aware of. Mm-hmm.
Yes, we can do a 30-day premise check. If you can provide me with the information or give them my information, they can contact me. So that way I can get my supervisor and commanders and figure out how we can have more police visibility in that area, because we won't know anything until anyone tells us. we can patrol the area, you know, but as the calls come in, that's what shows us that people are paying attention and they see something. And that helps us out. So again, if you can email me or call me or text me the information, and I can talk to that person directly and figure out what's going on and how we can fix the issue.
Yes, it's the shopping center near Branch. And I guess in general, what I'm seeing is people are just saying they want more visibility at night. That seems to be the consensus.
Okay. And can they also contact me if they have further information? That'd be fine, because I need to know the hours.
Yes.
What hours are they seeing more people hanging out, or whatever case may be? Because what we can do is, for the different roll calls, we have three shifts: the day shift, evening shift, and midnight shift. And what I can do is I can type up memo to send to the roll call for whatever time period that you give me for that particular those units that come in at whatever shift. Put in their roll call so they can have it on their list of places to check while they're on duty.
Yeah. Great. All right, thank you.
All right, certainly appreciate you.
Please feel free to contact me.
Okay, certainly appreciate you. I got to get used to your new name. Congratulations again.
Thank you.
Years of,
Appreciate it.
absolutely appreciate your time. Thank you so much.
All right, you all take care. Please contact me. I'm here for you all.
We'll do, and we'll post the report that you sent to me today. I'll post that tomorrow. Thank you so much.
No problem. Take care.
All right. Okay, so we'll go over to District 5, which is just across the street of Allentown Road. For those that do not know, Allentown Road actually is the borderline race District 4 and District 5. So, Mr. Corporal Polnack, if you can unmute yourself, we'd like to hear from you.
All right, how you doing? I don't have a whole lot to add to what she said. I mean, the big thing that we have going on in District 5, I can give you the crime stats if you like, but it's the same thing they have going on over there. There's an uptick in theft from autos, which is, again, a preventable thing, because a lot of times people are leaving their purses or wallets or briefcase or laptops setting on the seats of their vehicles when they go to get gas, or even while they're pumping the gas. If they're on the driver's side pumping the gas and their passenger doors open, these guys will sneak up, open the door, grab it, and be gone, and you won't even notice it until you reach down for it after you pull off. So again, just be aware, lock your doors, take your keys, don't leave the cars running. Again, that's the theft from autos. I'll give you some crime numbers just so you have them. These are going to be from April 11th through May 10th, so the last 30 days in District 5. Now, this is all of District 5, not necessarily just my area of responsibility. We had 2 commercial robberies. We had a total of 10 burglaries in that time frame. 2 of them were commercial, 6 of them were residential, and 2 of them were other. The others are like sheds or detached garages. The residential burglaries, it's not like they're breaking into a lot of homes. Now, I think there was one of those. Most of those are vacant homes where they're going in and stealing the copper and stuff out of the walls. The theft from autos, we had 31 again, and that's up from 25 for 30 days prior to that. So again, a lot of those are preventable. The next thing we had was stolen vehicles. Again, a lot of these are jump-ins where people are getting out, as she said, leaving the car running. They're going to just run in for a minute and get something out of the store, or run back in their house and grab something, turn the car off, take your key. So again, total violent crimes, we had 9, and property crimes were 76. That's a total of 85 for that last month. One thing I do want to mention is that I think I posted it on Nextdoor. I believe it was yesterday about getting the vaccine. They're having a 24-hour vaccine-a-thon starting Friday. It's on Nextdoor, and I'll post it again tomorrow when I get to work. And everybody can see that. They can get in and get their vaccine right there, and then they'll schedule you for your second dose while you're there. So, does anybody have any questions?
Yes, we have a couple of questions. You had mentioned Nextdoor. There was a question wondering, do the police monitor Nextdoor on a regular basis?
I watch Nextdoor. Now, we can't see individuals' conversations between them. We can only see the posts that our department does. So if you guys are having a private conversation between two people in their neighborhood, I can't see that.
I believe they were referring to kind of the, when somebody puts out a general question and it goes out to the neighborhood area. But
If somebody posts a question to my Nextdoor account, I see it and I respond.
Great. Thank you. Next question is, it's more general question. Is porch package theft considered a crime? And how is that engaged? Or how should it be approached?
Yeah, I mean, it's a theft. It's, it's not a robbery. It's a robbery typically uses, weapons involved and they're, forcing you or something. It's a theft. You call the police like you would for any other crime, and then they'll come out and take a report. Sometimes they may send you, we have a telephone reporting unit, depending on the sector and where they are and how busy they are, they may send you to the telephone reporting unit.
Thank you.
One other thing, now I don't know if they're doing this in District 4, if it's just something that the commanders at District 5 want, because I know they had questions about extra patrols in certain areas. Our commanders at District 5 are asking all the patrol officers and the cops officers to actually get out of their cars now and do some foot patrols. They're wanting us to do a couple hours a day each, but sometimes that's feasible, sometimes it's not. But I know they've been doing as many of those as they can. And I haven't, unfortunately, they've got me on light duty right now because I injured myself on the Christmas in April house, but I should be back real soon.
Thank you very much. I appreciate it.
All right. Certainly appreciate you, Corporal Polnack. I wanted to had an unexpected guest, I believe, Mr. Lucas. You say you're from Public Works and Transportation. We have a tight agenda, but if you wanted to say a couple words, I'm not sure if that was your interest or you were just joining the meeting.
Mr. Bailey, I'm with Jason,
Right.
and I
Treat people.
assist Jason with the Right Tree, Right Place.
Oh, okay. All right.
And
I apologize.
and oh, not a problem at all. We're just colleagues, and Jason will be doing the presentation, and I'm here to assist if anything comes up.
All right. Certainly appreciate you. Hear from you soon.
No problem.
Okay. So, Miss Taylor, Miss Monique Taylor, I'm sorry. I will turn the floor back over to you. I believe we are prepared for the presentation that you wanted to present earlier.
Thank you, Mr. Bailey. Once again, we had a little technical difficulty, but we wanted to honor our president who will be going out. His last day as president will be June 30th. And he has done such a fantastic job. So without further ado, we would like to have this special presentation for Mr. Bailey. Are we ready this time? I know it was just a problem.
Okay, well, maybe a little, we're getting there. We're getting there. So maybe we'll go to the next agenda item and come back to that.
I'm wondering, we're gonna be able to do this presentation.
We'll figure it out. We'll figure it out. So the next agenda item, I will turn it over to Ms. Monique Taylor as well, and I will mute myself.
Okay, well, let's do the installation of the officers at this time. And Ms. Beverly Taylor, can you unmute yourself?
Okay, good evening, everyone. It's that time of year again, and I came to you in March, getting a slate of nominees to run for the executive board, and we are ready to present to you tonight the executive board, the new executive board for Camp Springs Civic Association for the period July 1, 2021 to June 30th, 2023. Your new president will be Monique Taylor. Your new vice president will be Delonte Harrison. Recording secretary, Kalala Denny. Correspondence secretary, she ran again with no competition, Carolyn Fleming. And our treasurer, Eileen Wilson. These are people will be your new leaders. And I should hope that everybody will get behind them and help them in enabling us to have a better community. Thank you. The nominating committee was myself, Beverly Taylor, Tammy Jones, and Wilmarie McCoy. So our new officers. So come September, you're going to see a new face. Not John Bailey, but Monique Taylor. Congratulations to all of you.
Absolutely. A virtual round of applause to our new leadership team. Monique.
We'll now have Mahison Elamine is going to do the swearing in of the officers.
Who?
Mahison Elamine.
Good evening. Can I have all the officers? We're gonna have to go off mute because you're gonna have to state, everyone's gonna have to state the oath and say their name and raise your right hand, okay? And repeat after me. I state your name.
Taylor.
Wilson.
Kalila Denny.
Solemnly swear that I will support the Constitution of the United States.
That I will support the Constitution of the United States.
And that I will be faithful.
That I will be faithful.
And bear true allegiance to the state of Maryland.
Bear true allegiance to the state of Maryland.
And support the Constitution and laws thereof.
And support the Constitution and laws thereof.
And that I will.
And that I will.
Best of my skill and judgment.
Best of my skill and judgment.
Diligently and faithfully.
And faithfully.
Without partiality or prejudice.
Without partiality or prejudice.
Execute the position of, and then state your position.
Execute the position of recording secretary.
For the Camp Springs Civic Association.
According to the
Constitution and laws of this state.
according to the Constitution and laws of the state
and the bylaws of the association.
and the bylaws of the association.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
Congratulations, everyone.
Thank you,
Yes,
Mahatma. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much.
My pleasure.
All right. Congratulations again to everyone. All right. So we'll go to our next agenda item, which is Right Tree, Right Place program. And I will introduce Mr. Jason Sproles, who is going to lead and introduce the rest of his team. So Jason, if you can unmute yourself.
Good evening. Thank you for having us join you all. We appreciate your time, and it's a true honor to be able to speak in front of you all this evening. We do have some slides prepared, and I'll just wait for those to appear on the screen. Okay, thank you very much. This will work. So it seems like we can just go next here. This is just some rules that we use for Zoom, but we all know the rules pretty well. All right, thank you everybody for giving us the time and space to present our program this evening. I am representing the Prince George's County Department of Public Works and Transportation's Right Tree, Right Place program. I'm the coordinator of this program and have been serving in this position for about a year now. I am joined by a few different integral players in this program's administration who I'll let them say a few words about themselves if they'd like. And I'll just let Nick go ahead and say a few words as he'll be presenting with me.
Hi, everybody. My name is Nick Maletta with the Neighborhood Design Center. I've been with NDC for about a little over 3 years now, working on the Right Tree, Right Place program. Jason and I are both certified arborists. We both have our master's degrees. His is in forestry, mine's in environmental management. Yeah, Jason's going to take the first part. I'll take the second part of the presentation. And yeah, thanks for letting us speak to you guys.
So I'm also joined by Mr. Wayne Lucas of the Department of Public Works and Transportation, who is joining, and he's on standby should we have any need for him to say any words, but you guys heard him speak a few minutes ago too. So we can probably do the next slide. So a brief agenda of how this presentation will go. It shouldn't take more than about 15 minutes of your time, but I'm going to start with an overview of the Right Tree, Right Place program and discuss briefly the scale of our work, our different goals of this program, and a general overview of our process and timeline. I'll also be discussing how we'll be implementing this across the entire Civic Association, and then doing a little brief question and answer session, as well as sharing my contact information for further discussion. So next slide, please. Thank you. So a quick overview of how this program has touched the county. This program has existed for about 10 years now, and in that time we have removed about planted 52,000 trees and removed about 16,000 different trees across all 9 council districts. So as you can see, we keep really busy. This program works at a community level, so engaging with community partners and organizations is integral to the success of this program. And you can see that in that 10-year history, we've worked with about 250 different communities and planted along over 500 miles of county roadways. Next slide, please. Thank you. And last year, this is an infographic that shows the scale of our work. Across all 9 council districts, we planted about 6,500 trees and removed about 500 trees. And throughout this presentation, I'm going to discuss what and why we planted those trees, as well as why we removed some of those trees as well, and how you can expect that to be implemented in the Camp Springs area. So next slide, please. This program is primarily focused on mitigating tree risk and hazards associated with trees planted in the public right of way. And a big offender and risk for public safety is the Bradford pear tree. Now, these trees were planted widely across the county because they grow quickly and they have beautiful white flowers in the spring. However, as they've gotten older, we have realized that they form what is called included bark. And for those with visual, able to watch this on Facebook, you can see on the bottom left, this is a great example of how pear trees form their branches. They're low, there's many of them, and they are weak limbed. They have what's called included bark, which is that steep ridge, and that breaks apart during routine storm events in the summer, as well as during loading from ice and wind and snow during the winter. So they're a risk to public safety, and because they break apart and are so brittle, we have been comprehensively removing these across the county. Next slide, please. So, of course, the Right Tree, Right Place program is a tree risk mitigation program first. It's our primary goal is public safety. However, this program has evolved into also a urban tree canopy enhancement program, meaning that a second goal we have is to increase our overall tree canopy across Prince George's County. There's a number of reasons we do this that we'll be discussing, but we broadly have two main reasons for planting trees, one being environmental benefits, which include cooling of hot streets and stormwater benefits, as well as community level benefits, which of course trees can provide beauty with their flowers and fall color. Trees have been proven to slow traffic and make our streets safer, as well as they've been shown to increase happiness and worker productivity too. So we really like to bring in trees for their number of benefits. Next slide, please. So one issue I wanted to bring to everyone's attention is how these trees can enhance the atmosphere in Prince George's County. Trees and their leaves have been proven to reduce harmful air pollutants, and these can include carbon dioxide, ozone, and particulate matter that's in the air. And these substances are really harmful for people to breathe, especially for those with asthma and cardiopulmonary diseases. So by their reduction of these harmful chemicals, they've been shown to improve human health and reduce hospitalizations in Prince George's County. Additionally, as trees get older, they start to cast shade, and this reduces reflected heat on paved surfaces like roadways and sidewalks, which helps reduce surface temperatures and also make our streets safer to walk for young children to play in, as well as walk for adults and older residents of communities. Additionally, a side benefit on your utility bills is that these trees have been proven with their shade to reduce our dependency on air conditioning and heating. So you save a little bit of money on your utility bill at the end of the month too. And a stat that we actually were able to find from Prince George's County was that an immediate impact that trees have in the hottest summer months is that they reduce surface temperatures by up to 36 degrees Fahrenheit in the summer, as well as reducing vehicular cabin temperatures by up to 47 degrees. So they make an immediate impact on our public safety. Next slide, please. Additionally, these trees do help with water quality and runoff issues that we are facing in the county. Of course, we're part of the Chesapeake Bay watershed, so this is increasingly important as we become a more urban society. But trees, as they're planted in the public right-of-way, help reduce runoff and soil erosion. Their roots help keep the soil in place and expand the ability of soil to hold and store stormwater in place instead of being conveyed off stream and into our water systems. Additionally, they help reduce the amount of flooding in the streets as well, so reducing property damage and street conflicts as well. And all this helps improve public health by reducing the harmful pollutants that enter our water systems locally. And this helps protect our wildlife that is also really important too. Next slide, please. So this is a collaborative effort, meaning a number of different people will be involved in this project across Camp Springs. But of course, this is a Department of Public Works and Transportation program. However, both myself and Nick Maletta are contracted through the nonprofit Neighborhood Design Center, and we help to install and implement this program. But we do bring a lot of local agency to this, meaning that we work very closely with our county councilmen and our community organizations like you all to help make sure that this program reflects the community's character and values and that we can adapt this program and make it as best as we can. Additionally, the work that we will be doing through private contractors includes tree removals and tree plantings. So we bring in private contractors to support some business as well. Next slide, please. So a general look at how the process is going to work for Camp Springs. The first step for us is always outreach and engagement. We have found that this program is really highly successful when the community is given a voice and empowered so that we can understand how to best serve the community through this program. We want the streets and the trees to reflect the character of these communities, as well as you guys live in the community, so you can tell us where the problematic trees are and how we can help solve these issues for you. So we offer outreach in a number of different ways, and that includes meetings like this with the community at large, as well as a postcard mailing, meetings with residents as they need, as well as continued conversations via phone and email. And then from there, we will transition into the design and tree work phase. And what that will include will be, we will be walking the streets of the areas we will be working in to identify high-risk trees. And those include either the Bradford pear tree or any other standing dead or diseased trees that pose risk to public safety for removal and replacement. Or if there's dead wood and trees, we will mark those for pruning. Once we have comprehensively reviewed the trees in the right-of-way that need to be removed, we will select new tree species to be planted in the right-of-way to increase the amount of trees in the right-of-way. And the new tree plantings will occur anywhere from November of this year into April of next year. And for those wondering how this is going to be implemented in Camp Springs, we're working to identify the areas that are most high urgency to bring this program, and we'll be likely working over the scale of anywhere from 1 to 3 years to touch all of Camp Springs, as it is quite a large area. So we're still working on the finalizing where we're going to actually be working, but that more information to come as we work with Camp Springs Civic Association leadership. Next slide, please. And then the right trees. Obviously, we're the Right Tree, Right Place program. So what are these trees? So we offer 50 different tree species of all sizes and kinds to communities to help make the streets beautiful and reflect the character and values of the community. So we empower our residents to let us know what kind of trees they like and what kind they don't like, so that our designs can reflect that. But diversity is really important to this program through street trees, meaning that we want to plant a diverse amount of tree species. And the reason this is important is, for those who aren't familiar, there is a invasive beetle from Asia called the emerald ash borer beetle. And these beetles wiped out an entire tree species called the ash tree in a matter of a few years. So some communities across the county lost all of their trees in a matter of years. So we plant a wide array of tree species to create a resilient and adaptable urban forest that is resistant to unprecedented and unpredictable foreign pathogens and pests that come into our urban forests every few decades. Additionally, something that we are very considerate of is making sure that each tree species is fitted to the site that it's going to be planted at, meaning that Nick and I are designing and building. So we walk each street and we are marking the curb and taking in a lot of site-specific information, which includes, are there overhead utilities? Are there below ground utilities like water and electric, or water and gas lines, driveways, sight lines from homes? All of this is used to make sure that we plant trees that will have the fewest amount of conflicts with their growing environment for the duration of their life. So we do pay a lot of consideration to making sure that these trees are going to thrive in their growing environment. From here, I'm going to let Nick talk about some of the tree species that excite him most, and I'll let him take over and take it from here.
All right, thanks, Jason. Yeah, so I'm just going to go over quickly just a few of the tree species we plant. I'm not going to go through all 50. I don't want to bore everybody, but yeah, I'm just going to highlight a few of our large tree species and a few of our smaller tree species. So if we can go to the next slide. The first tree that I'm going to highlight is our oaks. We plant 9 different species of oaks through this program, all of which are native to the United States. These trees have a relatively low growing speed, but they can reach their maximum heights in about 30 years. All of these species are suited for the street side environment and can handle a lot of disturbance that these sites typically endure. Fall colors can range from bronze to red to yellow, depending on the species. Oaks are really drought tolerant once they become established. These species don't have any major known pests and diseases that would threaten their survival here in Maryland, and they're very long-lived, which makes them a great long-term investment for our urban forest. And then the tree on the right is the American elm tree. This is another large statured native species that we plant. These trees were once susceptible to Dutch elm disease, which has killed many native elms throughout the United States. However, the American elms that we plant are Dutch elm disease resistant and have been so far really successful in our program. These trees are known for their vase-shaped, broad, rounded crown. They grow larger. As they grow larger, the canopy begins to close, which means the tops of the trees begin to touch. And they kind of create like a cathedral-like ceiling that provides a lot of shade to the street, which can bring down those extreme street temperatures in the summer. Also, these trees are super tolerant to urban conditions, and they have a beautiful golden yellow fall color. And we can go ahead to the next slide. On the left, you'll see southern magnolia. This is another native tree to the southern East Coast. It's an evergreen tree, which means it keeps its leaves all year round. And it's also a flowering tree, which is pretty unique to some evergreen trees. They're very fragrant, and yeah, they're just a great highlight to the street. On the right side, you'll see Japanese Zelkova. This species is native to Japan. However, it's not an invasive species in the United States. It's a really popular planting for urban spaces since it performs really well in disturbed sites and has excellent branching structure. They're really good at surviving drought, street salt, air pollution, compact soils, wet soils, pretty much anything you can throw at it. And it doesn't really have any known pests or diseases. Zelkova is a shining star when it comes to its fall color, has this beautiful, vibrant red color. Yeah, and so it's a really good option for our urban street sides. We can go to the next slide. All right, and so on the left side, we have the black gum. This is a medium-sized tree that's native to the southeastern US. This tree is known for growing with a super straight trunk and a nice rounded crown. In the spring, it does produce flowers, although they're not super showy. They're just really good for native bees and other pollinators. This tree does produce some edible berries that are excellent food source for wildlife and human consumption. Black gum is also highly tolerant to urban conditions, tolerating wet and dry soils, shady to full sun sites, all kinds of different complicated environments. And they're also really well known for their vibrant red color in the fall, just like Zelkova. On the right side, you'll see bald cypress. This is the last large tree I'm going to talk about. It's a native tree to the southeastern US. It's a really long-lived species that kind of grows and looks like an evergreen tree, but it does lose its leaves in the winter. This tree grows really well in a wide variety of conditions, ranging from really dry to really wet soils. And it's also really resistant to rot in its wood. And they have really soft, kind of feathery looking leaves that turn an attractive bronzy orangey color in the fall. And these leaves kind of just like disappear after they fall off the tree because they're so small, there's no raking really required. We can go ahead to the next slide. I'm going to talk about a few of our small statured trees. Southern hawthorn and eastern redbud are a few of our highlights. Southern hawthorn is a native species to the US. It has these beautiful white flowers in the springtime. And one of its unique features, it has these red berries that stay on all winter. So we call that winter interest. So that's a really beautiful highlight to the street side environment in winter when there's typically nothing to really look at. And also those berries are really, really good for native birds and other pollinators and wildlife. Eastern redbud is another native species, has these beautiful showy fuchsia pink flowers in the springtime, which is kind of its namesake. These are both just small trees that we plant in the street side that have done really well in this program and people really seem to like. We can go ahead to the next slide. Flowering cherry. I think everybody knows flowering cherry. These are the trees that line the basin. Sorry, I see the time. Flowering cherries, they line the tidal basin. They're really pretty tree. American hazelnut, another flowering tree that we plant through the program. Very beautiful. Both really small trees that do really well on the street side. Next slide. As Jason already explained, the trees will go in the ground from November to April. That's our planting season, and they're going to be about 2 inches in diameter, the trunk, and about 8 to 12 feet tall, to give you a little bit of indication of how big they will be when they go in the ground. Next slide. So we suggest that the homeowners water their trees if it hasn't rained in 7 days during the hottest months of the summer, just because that'll help the tree establish. It's not required that you do any of this kind of maintenance. We just, if you want to see your tree really thrive, we suggest you do that, because it can be a little stressful for the tree after they're planted to get used to its new environment. Our program will come back every summer, or 1 year after planting, to remove the stakes and to make sure that any trees that have died get replaced. And we will keep coming back to check to make sure that your trees have survived and are doing well. We don't want to just leave you guys high and dry after we plant these trees. We want to maintain that relationship with you guys. And we can go ahead to the next slide. Just a little bit about mulching. It's not required that you mulch your tree, but if you decide to do so, we highly suggest you not place any mulch up against the base of the tree. That can really start to hold a lot of moisture there and rot the base of your tree and introduce insects and disease, which we really don't want. So if you decide to mulch your tree, just leave like a 3-inch ring around the base of around the base of the trunk where there's no mulch, just to keep everything away from it. And then you can spread the mulch out in a diameter of at least 3 feet and then 3 inches deep. And I think that brings us to the end. If you go to the next slide, it should have our contact info. If you guys want to reach out to us. Yes, for anyone that can't see the screen, our email is trees@ndc-md.org. And you can reach us by phone at 301-850-1462.
Great, thank you for sharing that information. We have a couple questions. One of them is, you were mentioning oak trees. Someone in the community said, many oaks and maples are dying. They have a gray gunk on their trunks. Can you tell us anything about this?
Yeah, I think what that resident ought to do is give us an email with some locations and we can come inspect these trees. And if any other residents know of troublesome trees that they have near their house, we can come and inspect those ourselves and share what we find. So I would suggest that someone send that address so that we can take a look. It's nothing I'm familiar with off the top of my head.
Okay. And in general, if there are areas that I guess could benefit from beautification from trees, boxes, greenery, is there a way for people to get those trees in those areas?
So we, through this program, exclusively plant in the public right-of-way that's owned by the county. However, if there's places that need to be planted through other programs, we can serve as a resource to get folks connected with the right kinds of people that could help those folks get trees in the ground. So that, again, I would encourage someone to email me and let me know exactly what they have in mind, and I can see how I can help or who I can put them in contact with. There's a lot of different kinds of services that offer different types of tree planting. So put them in contact with me and we can see who or what they would need to do to get trees in the ground.
Okay. Are oak trees pruned in the summer?
We generally try not to do our pruning cycles of oaks in the summer because it's not the most advantageous time, but we do prune our trees year round. So.
Okay. And final question, is there a way for community members to be a part of your efforts?
Yes, we highly encourage communities to be involved in this process, and they should contact me with kind of where they are located in Camp Springs and what kind of things they've noticed. It starts with conversations with me so I can kind of survey what they're interested in and what they're seeing with their street trees and how this program can be adapted to serve them. So residents are highly encouraged to be part of this process. It makes the program even better.
Great. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
All right. Thank you so much, Jason and Nick, for the comprehensive presentation. And we will continue to communicate and get this information out to our community and make sure that they're fully aware of what's going on and throughout the whole process. All right, we'll go to our next agenda item, and that is the business spotlights. And I'm going to pass it over to Ms. Kalila Denny, who will introduce the spotlights for this meeting.
Awesome. Thank you, John. So we have two very, very special business spotlights. And I'm going to start with our nonprofit spotlight with Arc of Knowledge. Arc of Knowledge is a great organization, and they have been around for a couple of years now, serving our seniors and our youth. And I'm not going to tell you all the good stuff. I'm going to let their president, Ms. Bailey, share with you who they are and what they do. Ms. Bailey, take it away.
Thank you, Kalila, and good evening, Camp Springs. I am Titania Bailey, president and co-founder of Arc of Knowledge, Inc. Arc of Knowledge, or AOK as we like to call it, is a 501c3 nonprofit organization that's working towards bridging the gap between our generations through purposeful and intentional interactions. Our organization believes that our generations are more alike than we are different. And as such, we're committed to strengthening our community by providing activities that require socialization and cultural exchanges, which promote mutual understanding and respect of similarities and differences in all ages. These intergenerational connections allow our youth and our seniors to share their talents and resources while supporting one another in relationships, which ultimately benefit both the individuals and the communities where they reside. So some of the programs we feature include workshops, support groups, skills trainings, reverse mentoring, well-being initiatives, and of course, community support and awareness. During the pandemic, we were able to provide resources to our community through partnerships with other local organizations. Some of the events and initiatives we hosted were Contactless Shred Day and Canned Food Drive, a winter warmth and toy drive where we donated new coats, gloves, and other winter accessories and toys to United Communities Against Poverty. We participated with the Camp Springs Civic Association and the Denny House with the monthly cleanup events. And we've had several hot meal initiatives that serve the local communities, including our essential workers, as well as other areas in our Prince George's County. We were recently recognized by Sheehy Ford for some of the work that we've done in the community during the pandemic. And I also wanted to let you guys know that on June 19th, we will be hosting another contactless shred event and canned food drive. This one will also feature e-cycling for your electronics. It'll be at the Central Baptist Church of Camp Springs, located at 5600 Old Branch Avenue from 10 a.m. to 2 p.m. And for more information or on our organization or to register for this event, you can visit us at our website at arcofknowledge.org or follow us on any of our social media at Arc of Knowledge. Thanks.
Awesome, awesome. Tay, are there any questions for Ms. Bailey?
No questions. Thank you.
Awesome, awesome. Great job. Thank you so much for that presentation. And again, I can speak firsthand to how wonderful an organization Arc of Knowledge is and the resource they've been to our community. So I just want to say thank you to you as well as Mr. John Bailey for all the efforts and work that you guys do in supporting the community, supporting our youth, and supporting our seniors. So, John, did you want to go introduce our next business, or?
Well, sure. No, go ahead. Go ahead. I'll step back. But
Okay,
they do
so,
have, they will be sharing their screen during their presentation.
Awesome. So yes, we have another fine for-profit business with us today, the Ben Men, who have been serving our community well. Ms. Monique Taylor is one of their customers, and she speaks very highly of the work and service that they have provided. So I'm going to yield the floor to Mr. Jermaine Newman to introduce Ben Men and speak on behalf of Ben Men.
Actually, it's going to be Kareem Dennis.
Okay, Kareem, thank you. Take it away.
First of all, I just want to thank Camp Springs and Ms. Taylor for having us on. We are a new business here. Well, we've been in business now for about 1 year. A couple weeks ago, we had our 1 year anniversary. But we're here with a new technology that we feel not only Camp Springs, Maryland in general, it's a dying need. And what we do is we sanitize and deodorize trash cans, bins, or receptacles, or toters. A lot of people call them different things. We refer to them as bins because the concept came from Italy and it was mandated over there. So as a retired sanitation worker, I felt like I can get with Mr. Newman and bring that technology to Prince George's County. We come from a network marketing background, whereas though we built a relationship with a lot of communities, so we were into just giving back. So we made TBM was an acronym for Teach, Build, Motivate. We wanted to motivate the young youth of our community, and so we turned that into a profit business for into the Benman. And we sanitize these receptacles over 220 degrees mobily. So we will come to your house mobily, sanitize your receptacles, then taking off the bacteria, staph disease, staphylococcus, and as we know today, COVID-19. But I see the screen is on, so I would like to share actually one of our commercials that it's been running now for about 2 months.
So is there supposed to be sound?
Yeah, it was supposed to be sound. So what you're seeing right here basically is the process of how everything goes on. So usually we like to come out when the next day after trash. That way the bins are completely empty and it doesn't affect the machine, because the machine is spitting out about 10 gallons of water per minute, and we don't want the trash all on the street. So we prefer to come the day after the trash. And also we in our truck, when we are doing the dirty cans and steam cleaning them, and then we have a UV machine where we use electrostatic cleaning, which is an extra plus. A lot of people in our industry, they don't use electrostatic cleaning, but we add that to our monthly package for free. So it's not a charge to it. And then all of the wastewater, as you can see, the can is pretty much dirty. You can almost imagine all of the bacteria and all of the staph disease and everything that's on it. We turn that into what you see that looks like a brand new can. But all of the dirt and grime that we take off of those cans go into the back of our machine, generating into a filter system that's turning that water right back into natural drinking water. And I noticed earlier in the presentation, Camp Springs is looking to go green. Well, that's what we pride on. We pride on, eco-friendly and green products. And that's pretty much, that's what we do in a nutshell. We just felt like this is a dying need. Like I said, I was a sanitation worker for 17 years, and I watch kids go to high school and go up, and they were taking these cans back for household chore, so to speak, and was catching the common cold. That's why I felt the need to get in touch with Jermaine, and we felt the need to bring this to Prince George's County.
Well, thank you so much for your presentation. I'm just going to ask, the contact information is behind Brother Jermaine's head there, the phone number. But if you would share it and their email address, or how you'd like people to contact you if they wanted your services, and if you could quickly share what your service package is as it relates to just a typical residential service.
So the typical package we refer as a monthly package, which is about $39.95 a month, and all of the bells and whistles are included in that. We can be reached at 240-348-4486, or the website is very easy. It's THEBENMENDMV.com. And the email address is thebenmendmv@gmail.com.
Awesome. Tate, do we have any other questions for them?
No questions. If you could just put that information in our chat, I will make sure it gets to Facebook.
Awesome. Well, thank you to our business presenters today. I would also just like to give a quick shout out to an organization called Brothers Auto. And I'm going to say the reason why I'm shouting Brothers Auto out is because I was broke down at the Royal Farms myself, me and my crew, and a gentleman by the name of Marquez. I'm probably messing his name up, but the point of it all is he rolled up, saw we were in need, didn't ask any questions, didn't hesitate, pull out his jack, start moving, didn't want any money, just told us where we could locate him if we needed any more help. And he is a Camp Springs member. Their business is on Allentown Road. And I think that was the best advertisement he could have ever done, by just showing up and providing us help and servicing us in that way. Would not accept my money. Of course, I tried to, bless him. He would not accept my money. But just want to shout his organization out, or his business out, which is, again, Brothers Auto and Body. They have the body shop over on off of Old Branch Avenue, and their auto mechanic shop is in Capitol Heights. Brothers Auto Body, Auto and Body. So I guess I could turn it back over to John now. Thank you.
All right. Thank you, Kalila. That was great. I certainly want to thank our businesses. We definitely want to focus on our nonprofits and our for-profits that are supporting us in our community. So we have to support them. So make sure that you check out their websites, Ark of Knowledge, as well as the Ben Men. And I do something that's called well, not any longer, I guess. It'll be Monique, but I started something called the President's Pop-Up, and we have those posted on our YouTube page. In which if you go to our website, campspringsca.org, go to the bottom and click onto our YouTube page, you will see the President's Pop-Up, and you will see the Ben Men. We did a President's Pop-Up when they were doing, I believe, Miss Monique Taylor's bins, as well as our past president, Miss Tammy Jones. So you can go there and check that out, see them firsthand, and see their truck in action. And they do a wonderful job. Absolutely. So,
Mr. Bailey.
Yes.
Can I please get my presentation?
Yeah, the floor is yours.
No, I know we're over time, everyone, but we really need to acknowledge Mr. Bailey. He has really done a lot for our community. Tara, do you think you could get the special presentation by our Councilwoman Monique Walker? You have to share your audio in order for everyone to hear it. You think you can get that? Otherwise, I'm going to read the proclamation.
Can you see? Can you guys see the video?
Yes.
Okay. Now let's see if this works.
Okay.
Yes, I'm sharing my audio. It's just something's going on with the technology tonight.
Oh, okay.
Okay. Let's turn this all the way up. Let's see, and you guys let me know if you can hear it.
Good evening, Camp Springs Civic Association, and good evening, John Bailey. It is a pleasure to be here this evening, and I just want to say that in the past 2.5 years during my time on the council, I have been honored to work with the Camp Springs Civic Association and you, John Bailey. You've made this transition easy because of the work, the intensity, the care and the love that goes into taking care of the community, and I am honored to be in partnership with you. But today, I want to honor you, John Bailey, for all that you've done with this proclamation. It reads, a proclamation. Whereas we are reminded that in the fleeting time we have on this earth, what matters is not wealth or status or power or fame, but rather how well we are loved and what small part we play in making the lives of other people better. That's Barack Obama. Whereas John E. Bailey IV is being honored for his faithful and most productive service to the Camp Springs community. And whereas John Bailey, his lovely wife Titania Bailey, and their 4 children moved to Camp Springs in 2008, and John served as Crossland High School PTSA president for numerous years and a dedicated advocate of the Camp Springs community. And whereas for the last 8 years, John Bailey has served in leadership positions for the Camp Springs Civic Association and committed 2 consecutive terms as vice president and president, which began on July 1st, 2017. And whereas there are many accomplishments under the leadership of John Bailey, to include developing and maintaining the Camp Springs Civic Association website, putting the association onto social media platforms, establishing and maintaining Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter accounts, soliciting local businesses to become members and partner with the association, initiated the Camp Springs Shred Community Day, initiated and negotiated with WSSC to renovate the water tower overlooking the community, and so much more. And whereas John Bailey is also the founder and executive director of Art of Knowledge Incorporated, that is dedicated to strengthening the bridge between youth and seniors. And whereas the Prince George's County Council is especially honored to have this opportunity to recognize and pay tribute to John E. Bailey IV for his exemplary public service to the Camp Springs community and Prince George's County. Now therefore be it proclaimed by the Prince George's County Council that John E. Bailey IV is lauded for his commitment to excellence through the Camp Springs community and wished the very best in the future. Monique Anderson Walker, Council Member District 8, and Calvin S. Hawkins II, Council Chair. Continue to be blessed and be a blessing. Thank you so much, Camp Springs Civic Association.
That was beautiful.
Oh, that's great. That's great. That's great. Thank you all so much.
John?
Yes.
I would like you to see, this is your proclamation.
Oh.
I will make sure that you get this proclamation. And we are so thankful and grateful that you have been part of, that are still part of our lives, but for all of your leadership for the past 8 years. So I'll make sure you get this. And
thank you.
Camp Springs Civic Association has a thank you award for you. And it's presented to John E. Bailey IV in recognition of your hard work and outstanding dedication to the Camp Springs Civic Association. Thank you so much for your time and effort, and it's dated May 12th, 2021. Thank you. I'm so glad we finally was able to get that.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much.
There was a point of personal privilege from Miss Tammy Jones.
Thank you. Thank you. I just wanted to, and I'll be quick about this. I just wanted to personally thank John for his leadership. He has been an amazing leader. Not only, has he done all of the things that Councilwoman Monique Taylor gave in her proclamation. I mean, he is someone who goes out into the community. He listens, he cares. He has brought in, younger people into the Civic Association. He has just amazing integrity. And I just want to, recognize him for all that he's done and will continue to do for us. So thank you. Thank you for that.
Oh, thank you. Thank you so much, Tammy, for your leadership. I was your vice president, and I learned so much from your leadership. So it was some big shoes to fill. So hopefully I did a good job.
Well, we're gonna start working on Monique now.
Absolutely,
Thanks,
absolutely. Thank you so much, Tammy.
All right.
Thank you so much, Monique and Taylor and Monique Anderson Walker and Calvin Hawkins and the entire board of the Civic Association and all the residents, all the politicians that have helped me and assisted me and have been there for me over these years. You don't get to do this alone. It's a team effort, but I try to use as many resources as possible. And I see a great future for the Camp Springs community because of the leadership that's coming aboard. There are several young people that are put their Nikes on, that are ready to run, and they're behind the scenes right now working on this call. The TAs, we have so many young people that are ready to take over and move forward with this community. So I certainly appreciate everyone. I don't want to take up any more time. We are over. Just thank everyone. I'm still here, and I hope that the community will allow me to continue to help in whatever capacity I am. So thank you all. I appreciate you all, and my family will appreciate me being around the house a little more now. All right, thank you all.
But I do have one more announcement.
Okay.
Because we do a monthly cleanup, and to remind everyone, our monthly cleanups are normally the third Sunday of the month from 1 to 3 p.m. So for May 16th cleanup, we will be meeting at, I don't have the address, but everyone knows we're on Allentown Road, Dr. Proctor and Associate. It's Allentown Road and Allentown Way, right across from, is that BB&T Bank?
Yes. Yes.
So we will be meeting there. We will be doing Allentown Road, Allentown Way, and probably go to part of Old Branch, and we'll do the underpath. So we will get some information on the website at next door to remind everyone that we will be out this Sunday from 1 to 3. And just to let everyone know, for June, the third Sunday is Father's Day. So we move that cleanup. I can't remember off the top of my head if it was the week before, the week after. But we will send out information to let everyone know. We thank you for your time. And I hope you learned something from the different speakers. And we like to thank everyone who did come out to speak this evening.
Yes, thank you to all of our speakers. Ms. Rutherford, Ms. Burke, run it quick. Dr. Hunter, Ms. Corporal McLaughlin, Corporal Polnack, Ms. Beverly Taylor for the installment, Mahasan for the swearing in. Really appreciate that. Jason and his team, Right Tree, Right Place. The Ark of Knowledge, Ms. Titania Bailey, Kareem and Jermaine from the Ben Men, and the entire board. Ms. Monique Taylor, I appreciate all of your support and keeping me on point. All right. Certainly appreciate it. Don't want to take up any more time. So we will see you all at our next meeting in the next fiscal year, which will be September 8th We'll either be virtual or at Thurgood Marshall. We will see. All right, so God bless everyone and have a great summer, and I'll see you in the community.